All right, we're going to talk about item buckets. So who here is using item buckets in their Sitecore solutions? Raise your hand. Who's not? Raise your hand. Who might be? Raise your hand. Anyways. So yeah, let's talk about item buckets. If you guys have any questions, you can ask me here. You can tweet me. You can write on my blog. You can call me on my phone if you have my number. Since the rest don't do that. But yeah, there's multiple ways to touch it. Some people can't have my item, but anyways, without further ado, let's move forward. All right, so what's an item bucket? Well, really, it's just an item, right? Everything is Sitecore is an item. Templates, fields, everything. Anyways, I guess the definition which I came up with, which I don't know what I'm talking about, but it's basically something that will contain structure of bucket folders, which may or may not contain items or other bucket folders. The bucket folder structures are built by some kind of actual algorithm. We'll talk about that after. You can change the algorithm, which we'll discuss. And I have code to show that. Yeah, I have way too many movements on the slide. Anyways, one thing that before I move forward is, item buckets give you the ability to have, in theory, millions of items to live underneath one item. Why is this a good thing? Well, it's better than doing that if you have everything as a child item of an item, because performance is going to be severely impacted. When you start doing queries or anything like that, it's just really slow. As a matter of fact, when you default stuff out of the box, and Sitecore just really slows down when you have too many items underneath one item. So that's why busted buckets were introduced. All right, so out of the box, the tree structure, the magical route, it's basically a datetime format. So this format, you can change it in Sitecore configuration. It lives in Sitecore.buckets.config, but don't change this file. Please change it in your own config files and put it somewhere in a subdirectory in that config. So if you don't want the year, the year to be the first folder, you can make it a month, whatever you want. It's all there for you to mess around with. However, I'm going to show other things. All right, so I'm just going to name off some definitions in case you guys are familiar with it. So what is a bucket folder? Guess what? It's an item, right? Everything's an item. It can contain either bucket folders or bucketable items. What's a bucket folder? We'll get to that later. So a leaf, if you guys have computer science education, you probably learn about leaves and branches and tree structures. A leaf is like the most, if you go all the way down like nested bucket folders, the last guy that contains an item would be a leaf. He may contain bucketable items, or he may not be bucketable items. Nothing out of the box forces that. Which will actually show you that you can. All right, so a bucketable item. So I didn't have like good text to write on this. Basically, it's just an item that has this checkbox checked right there in the item bucket section. This basically says, yes, this is bucketable. It can live inside of a bucket folder or under an item bucket. As a matter of fact, on the box, which I'll show you in a minute, if an item does not have this checked off, it will live as a child item under the item bucket and not in the bucket folder at all. So basically, the documentation on Sitecore says, hey, you need to go click this box on these items, or put it on standard values and template for the item. It's great if you have maybe 10 items, but if you have thousands, then we'll talk about that. I like it. All right, yeah, you want to see it, right? Sure. Hope you guys have food. We're going to be talking about a lot of stuff here. Okay. So this probably locked me out. Refresh, yes. You don't know what your password is, do you?
See?
Yes. You win a prize. All right, anyways. All right, item buckets. So let's just look at a regular item, child items. By the way, this is SEO friendly. Blah, 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 blah. This is a joke. This is a regular item. How do we know? I probably should just go look. well, this is not checked. I didn't talk about that, but an item bucket will have this checked. Don't ever touch this. It actually says it right here in corporate text, don't touch this. It's reserved for the system. The system in site work. Why? Well, there's some cool things up here to make that happen. So we have this guy, which is bucket. That will convert it into an item bucket. This guy we'll talk about later. I added that, but make pretend that this not exist. So if I click this guy, let's see what happens. Of course I'm sure. Wait for it to do its thing. Go here. There's nothing there. I mean, it didn't do anything. Why? Well, these guys, unfortunately, are not bucketable. See, it's not bucketable. I'm not lying. Alright, so the only way for things to go into bucket folders is this checkbox. It must be checked. And, unfortunately, out of the box, you can do it manually, but I have an app for that. Anyways, alright, so let's do this. So let's just have fun with this for a second. Just to show you how this thing works out of the box. So I think I passed it. Sorry. I probably should use it.
Next section now.
Did I pass it?
Yeah, one more. There you go.
Alright, let's do this. We'll just do one guy. Not this guy, that guy. Let's see this. You're like, wait, nothing happened. Well, you have to actually go back up to the parent. You have to click sync in order for it to sync into the item bucket folder structure. So if I say sync, look at that. It created a bucket folder structure based off of something I probably should have removed before I presented it, but I'm going to present it anyways out of order, unfortunately. So this is not the default date structure because I overwrote it, which is something I wanted to show you. Anyways, make pretend this is these dates. Alright, so it got put into a bucket folder. It got this item is bucketable now. Tick the checkbox, do the same, and then it's like we did this magic. Now if we do over here, we do a revert. So this means I don't want this guy to be an item bucket anymore. I just want it to be a regular item. Like this. Yes. Do a refresh of this guy. There are some bucket folders. But I don't know who chose this guy or whatever, but he still remains bucketable. It keeps that checkbox checked. There you go. That's out of the box functionality, which is I guess good enough in most cases, but let's say that are lazy, you want to click all these items, blah, blah, blah. So I created basically this guy here that says didn't call it bucket plus. You guys are going to receive C++, or this, yeah, whatever, Notepad++. Anyways, we all love Notepad. What this guy does, I'm going to show you the process. There's a lot of code here. Anyways, this guy will actually check all the boxes on every sub-item that lives underneath this item, and then run the out-of-the-box command to make the bucket magic happen. So I click this. Yes. And we get another dialog. Yes. Do that. There we go. Everybody's in the bucket. This is based off of the reverse ID of the item, which I'm going to show you in this presentation. So basically, it's just this backwards, but I basically said I'm going ahead of myself, but we're choosing this starting arrow. See that in a second. But anyways, let's not get into that yet. So we have that. Okay. I can revert this, and then everybody's going to be done. Okay. Child of the item that was a bucket. But these guys are still bucketable because it doesn't uncheck those checkboxes. So let's say, oh, you don't want them to be like that. Well, there's an after that as well. I created this custom command to uncheck the checkboxes. Bitch, children, unbuckable. Like that, do that. Uncheck. Uncheck. I'm just choosing these at random. So, there's another thing. So if you bucket an item that's not bucketable, I told you they were bucketable. Then I created this guy. Bucketable. You get that? And they're still not in bucket folders because we didn't do the same to make that work. Well, there. Okay, so they're now in bucket folders. All right. I think I jumped ahead. I didn't want to jump ahead, but I did because that's what I probably did. I guess we'll get back to this in a second because I have other funny gifts I want to show. So go back to here, then go over here. But this is what I really wanted to show you because that's what we're doing. We're customizing everything in here. All right. So let's look at code. You guys look at code, right?
So I did want to talk about the bucket folder structure. You said something like you use the quit for the item to create that folder structure.
You want to talk about that first? We can talk about
No,
that.
I mean if you are.
No, I was going to show it.
Okay.
I wanted to show it first, but I went out of order because,
Okay.
I never-
It's up to you.
All right, no, let's show it like that because that's the way I wanted to show it. Because this is something that's really important that I want you guys to know about. I mean, this is what's available out of the box for this. So you have to write a little bit of code, not a lot of code. So basically, you can create.
I think one of the problems that we face with using the date format is that the reason for bucket is that if you have more than 100 items, then you should put them in bucket because otherwise performance will hard.
You mean that number changed to 286.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually discovered that when you put up
Maybe
the
312.
Yeah.
But with date format, it may happen that with date and time and minute, you may have 281 items in the same folder.
Right.
And that defeats the purpose of item bucket because now you have the number of items there which you are trying to avoid, right?
Right.
So we found date formatting was sometimes can create problems.
Let's jump into that then. Because I actually think this is a cool feature out of the box that you can leverage.
Okay.
So let me make sure I can find it because I know different things live. So I know it's in here and I go to buckets and then I go to this guy here, item bucket settings.
Okay.
This is something that's really cool that you guys don't know about. You can do things in here that are pretty awesome. It's pretty redundant. All right, so you guys are familiar with the rules engine, Sitecore?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes.
Lion?
No.
All right.
We know.
All right. So you can actually use out-of-the-box rules to change how those folder structures are created. You can create your own conditions and actions to make that work.
Okay.
And I did that with what I showed here, with the reverse of the ID up to a certain number of levels. So I have this, I don't know if you guys can see this, I don't know if it's really visible, but I'm going to go into this. So I want to create, I want it where the item bucket has no presentation. I made this random. It's totally just garbage. It's probably not even applicable, this particular rule. But what I'm showing here is you can create rules, actions, conditions. So we have a condition where the item has no presentation in that particular bucket. And then the number of bucket child items is equal to, this number I set here, like in this diagram. So you can set that here, and then I can go and click the number, change that, right? So I use 6, it doesn't matter, whatever you want. It works great. I want to create a structure based off of the reverse of the ID of the item that's being bucketed under the folder. So it's the bucketable item whose ID is being used.
Okay.
So let's look at the code to see how that works. That's not the right thing. Let's go to the next presentation. Okay. So I'm going to go to here. So, brilliant. Okay. All right. So here's the condition. It needs to actually inherit from, a base like this, and give it a context, which really is going to be this guy here. So or inherit from it. Now, this is basically how, the conditions work inside where you have to have it, set up like that. And then you have the ability, you want to override this apply method. And this is where you say, okay, does it meet this condition? You do it here. All right, so in this particular case, first ID, I'm basically just making sure it actually has the resolved path. If it, from the base. If it doesn't, it'll get out. It's whatever. Otherwise, we're going to reverse the actual path. So I cheated here. Instead of actually grabbing the item ID, I'm actually grabbing the string that was produced by the base class, which is this guy, which is the ID base. And then I'm actually doing string manipulation to reverse the string. That's all I'm doing. If I wanted to be fancy, I could basically use the item here, like reverse and stuff. I didn't want to, since I'm inheriting from this guy, I don't want to change the words too much. I could have rolled my own, but so, there's nothing special here. We're doing a split on this, which is the path that it's generating. And then we're doing a reverse, which is probably not a good idea to do in real pressure build, but I did it. This is just for pedagogical reasons for you guys to do stuff. Then I join it back together in the reverse order. Then I return it here and set it on this property of this guy here, which is an instance of this guy or subclass up. Hopefully that wasn't too confusing. Anyways, so that's our condition for this guy. And then let's look at some let's look at conditions. That was actually an action. I jumped ahead. So you guys know about this is a static method on this class in Sitecore.kernel. You can basically run this pipeline. So behind the scenes, it's invoking a pipeline and saying, hey, does this item have presentation details? That's all it's doing. And it will return yes or no, true or false. So that's all I'm doing. I'm passing that's the item we're looking at, a particular bucket, or a bucket item, I should say. And does he have presentation? True or false, return back to the caller. So for, a condition, you want to override this guy. And then, right here we have when conditions. I think there might be other conditions out of the box I don't remember. As a matter of fact, you can create your own conditions, which I'm not going to go into because that's not part of this presentation. But it might be a good future presentation. Talk about the rules and things. But anyways, so I'm just saying, hey, does this guy have any presentation details? Yes or no. Returns to the caller. And then here I want to say when bucket has n or more children, this guy has a little bit more code in him. Should we execute? This is a virtual method on this class. Excessive number. I don't know why I call it that, but it sounds funny. We get the excessive number from the value property, which is magically injected by Sitecore for the value that's set when you're setting up the rule. It gets injected into this guy, which actually it comes from this guy, which actually comes from the base of this guy. You want to go into that. I'm doing, I want to do a parse in case somebody thought they were clever and they're going to if they put 0, then I'm going to return, if they put a non-integer, I'm going to return 0, otherwise return the number that was there. If the number is greater than 0, so if it's 0, it's false. Or is it? Anyways. And if we have more children, we have the same amount of children or more for the excessive number, we return that as Boolean. It gets returned to the caller of this guy here. So we're doing that. So if you remember the rule that says, all right, if the item bucket has no presentation, and he has X amount of child items. We want to have this action reverse the ID of the bucket item. So that's what's going on here. You can leverage this. You can have your folder structure be whatever you want it to be by just using the rules engine.
Okay.
One thing to keep in mind, it's a big thing that I discovered on my own because I wasn't thinking straight. So I wrote a blog post which talked about changing the structures using a random number. Well, let's say you wanted to actually know what the path is, and I don't know if you guys read my blog post on having a different gutter renderer icons in the Sitecore gutter. Well, you can't do something like that unless the particular path is determined. If you know how to do it again, it has to be something unique, the unique path. If you're doing random numbers, well, it's not going to work. I wanted to show that gutter magic here, but unfortunately, my it's not working. Something I discovered in how gutter renderers were instantiated in Sitecore behind the scenes, which I haven't solved, but I haven't figured out how to fix it. But so unfortunately, sorry guys, my stuff doesn't work all the time. But just keep that in mind that the code I put out on my blog doesn't work all the time. Sometimes it works, but sometimes the gutter will stay on forever and it will work again. Anyways, so I digress. Let's get back to what we're talking about. So yeah, you can change whatever you want here. This is out of the box. It will use this over the date and time format by default. And this offers a lot of power. You want it to be, I don't know, Gary had a little lamb, you can do that. Whatever you want it to be. If there was your favorite song, sure. Anyways, so that's how you can modify the date, the out-of-the-box date time format, which looks like this. Which I should have showed this already. We have here, month, day, minutes, seconds. You can keep going if you want. You could use custom, conditions and actions to keep going down to milliseconds or picoseconds, whatever time seconds you want. But I mean, this is kind of like, it seems like it'd be a great instruction for a blog or news articles or something like that, but it might not be good for different types of content. So that's a good segue into the next thing I want to show, which is, alright, we have, so this isn't bad, this particular structure here, it shows up in the URL for the item. But what if you have goods, pieces of the item ID in this? Well, it doesn't make much sense from an, end user or SEO perspective. It's like, okay, this is weird. Well, wouldn't it be nice if you could have a URL that looks like this? It's like, wait a minute, let's go back. Oh, look at that, we're getting rid of that. Oh yeah, look at that, the result, same item. Alright, let's talk about this real quickly. So, this is, by the way, this is the same item. If you don't believe me, go to this guy, some item. That's the item bucket. That's some item. What we're looking at, I think it's this guy right here. He doesn't live over here at all. We're resolving it magically. Alright, so how does that work? Alright, let's look at, so I have to actually cheat because I forget how this works. The way I can remember is by looking at the configuration file like that. Which I'm going to run on the solution. Go back here. Oh, I jumped ahead, I'm sorry. What I wanted to show you guys is when you create custom actions or conditions inside of, for bucketing or in general, you have to create an item to have something that represents that class. So for item buckets, you're going to want to do that. Either remember rules, definitions, elements, bucketing, and then everything's in here. So what we showed was, the bucket item has some presentation. We're pointing to that particular, that class fully typed up. We need to qualify it here. We have to set this text that will show up inside of the rules engine editor for the content user, whether it be number of children. So this is magically saying, hey, we want a value that, it's a compare operator that compares to this value that's over here, It's basically just standard rules engine magic. You know, if you don't know how this works, it's documentation on it, copy and paste. Just kind of, oh, I think I understand how this works. And you just do it like that. So these are conditions. And then you can have an action. You have to create an action for this to work. This is the class that the different person was trained from the base class. So that was this guy here. And then you basically say, okay, where this certain amount of levels. So I want to look at, okay, how many levels? I just want 6 pieces of the ID. You do it like that. So you got to create those. So I'll go back to, I was talking about before, you can go back again. So we'll go back. Alright, so I was looking at config file. I'm looking for it. I want to actually, resolve the URL to magically find the bucketed item underneath that crazy bucketed structure. It could be crazy just beyond really. Alright, so there's a lot of stuff here. So let's look at some things quickly. It's from least dependent to most dependent, right to dependent. One class may use another, and some classes use no dependency. Alright, so we have this guy here called find bucketed item provider. And setting up a structure like this to instantiate it. One thing I probably should have done was put the single instance equals true attribute on this, and then it becomes a singleton inside a cycler. I wasn't thinking when I wrote this. Because every time this thing's recalled, it's getting instantiated every time you want it to be instantiated once, because it's being used. In this case, it's being used once, but you could use this in amount of times. And you want all kinds of things going around. Anyways, that's a totally crazy conversation we have later.
You can mention single instance in the config.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you can do this.
Oh,
Not like that, you can do that. That it becomes a single thing. Magically. So the Sitecore configuration factory keeps this in a hash table. A real hash table. Not like an dictionary, it's a hash table. It will actually put it in there, and I believe the key is the actual type value here. It will look it up. And if it's there, it returns it, otherwise it creates it and puts it in the hash table. Actually, no, if this isn't here, it will just create it every time. But if this guy's on like this, he's gonna like create it, put it in the hash table, return it every time. It's just, you don't want a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
Live in memory when you don't need to be. Create it once, use it again.
yeah.
Who would have thought? Anyways. But yeah, I didn't do that here because, I don't know, I think I wrote this in like 3 years. Anyways. So we have this guy. So what does this guy do? Let's go to him. Items, find, bucket, item provider. Okay. Items, there's a lot of code here. I wrote all this stuff in the past month. And I wanted to cover a lot of it, but I don't know if we're going to this on our time. But thank you. So if we go here, there's all good developers you want to create interfaces for your stuff so that you can swap things out when you need to. That's the whole point of the configuration factor. You should swap things out, kind of like a rudimentary.
Is that a way for you to consume
Yeah.
Whoa.
Anyways,
For all lines.
so you have an interface here. You want to swap things out. Things are in configuration for a reason. And this, is a segue into dependency injection without external models. Anyways, that's the job. So we have this guy which defines classes that will implement this guy here. So we're passing in an item bucket. I probably should have named it bucket item because it's kind of weird. And then the name of the guy we want to find. So if we go and look at the guy that implements this, that's this guy here below. You guys use the content search API, right? That's what I'm doing here. Now, one thing I just caveat, the way I implemented this, I found a bug in it. So these properties here, what I'm doing is, I'm not going to go into the code too much, but I'm basically saying, okay, in configuration, I'll go back to the config line. I'm setting up, I'm injecting, the names of 2 different indexes here. and one for the master database, one for the web. And then I mistakenly called it preview and live. I found a bug in how this worked in the later post, which I'm going to show you over that, the last thing I showed. So if we may pretend this does not, let's make pretend there's a bug in here, and we're actually using this properly, where we're saying, okay, we're going to inject in, a list of, let's say mappings from database to indexes. So that will magically work. So I'm not going to cover this. I'm going to actually write some addendums to the post that use something like this because it's fun. Anyways, go back to this guy. So let's pretend that we're getting the right index, right? By the way, the code still works. We're going to see that. We're starting. We'll see again. I'm grabbing I'm going to call it context search index for the database we're on. I'm going to use the content search API, creating this guy, and I'm going to look at it. So I'm going to create a predicate. This predicate says, hey, I want an item that whose path contains the bucket item's ID in it. So basically, it's probably a parent or an ancestor or something. Where the template ID is not equal to the bucket folder template ID. And that actually comes from this, which I'm setting up a property inside of this class. This guy basically is a class that comes with separate elements, and I use this. I also want an item where the parent isn't the bucket, because that means he's on the bucket folder. And I also want to make sure that the actual item isn't the bucket, the item bucket. So that. And then I want to find an item where his name equals the name that we passed into it, and none of them are case, because we don't care what case URL is. And so that gets returned up here. We call the context search API, get back our results. If we have no results, we return null if we didn't find anything. Otherwise, we return the first one that came up. So, before I jump forward with this, the problem is, there's no way, and this is a segue to the next one, there's no way to enforce out of the box a unique item names like bucket items inside of item buckets. So this code will, if we have, let's say, 3 items with the same name in different bucket folders, it's going to probably return the first one that's up in the tree. So that's what this thing is doing. And then I get inside your instance, return to the caller. So we go back to who's doing this. This guy is being used. Let's go ahead and big file for a second. So this guy isn't used over here. This is something else I'm going to show before I jump into where this is used. All right, so we have. We created a link provider. We go to the link provider, and you guys know how to override link providers inside code, right? So basically, when you do link manager.get item URL, it's basically using the link provider behind the scenes that will figure out what the item URL is and return back to the column, which is probably you can override it, do different things. I created one of these so that I can go into I want to go into here and maybe insert a link to one of these guys that was in a nested bucket folder structure. So these guys are actually examples of that. I actually have it. Sorry. Let's like what you do. Alright, let's do this. Now. I don't know if you guys presentation. I'm just going to publish this one. Yeah, typically I would show the code first. I'm going to show you this first, just so you get an idea of what's going on. When you actually look at the source of this, it's basically just giving you the item ID here. But over in the front end, it's going to be something different. It's going to give you the path of the goods. But we don't want that to happen for, this particular guy. We don't want his bucket folders inside the URL. So we go URL at the bottom, look, there's no bucket folder. Pieces that we click on it, we go. So that's why I created a custom link provider to get rid of those. So let's look at that one real quickly. I don't want to spend too much time on the positive. Okay. That's for the next presentation. So if we go look at the link provider, I can put it inside of sandbox, buckets on links, providers, clear. That's too big, too small. All right, anyways, I'm overriding the get item URL method. Before I jump into that, I just want to. So there's a method here on the base link provider class that lets you initialize things on the instance. So what in this leverages parameters collection, which inside of it's actually config element. And I'm setting a config element to point to something special, which is a custom pipeline I built in this work. So we'll look at that code real quickly after this. This is basically just a path in Sitecore configuration. Go back here real quickly. Right here. Well, it's actually the pipeline name, which is actually this pipeline name. Sorry. So I'm patching that in as an attribute on the link provider class, and that's what I'm doing is I'm grabbing the instance of it here and putting it on this guy here so I can reuse it, because I'm going to call a custom pipeline and grab the URL for the actual bucket item. So what are we doing? We're getting it from base. I wrapped the base get item URL method here because I need to actually use it. I did it like that for a reason. So we got the URL. We have to determine, did somebody mess up? Did they set an configuration for that custom pipeline? If not, let's get out. Or is the URL empty? Just doing basic developer checks, things like that. And we also want to make sure the actual item's parent is a bucket holder, because if it's not, what's the point of doing all this stuff? It's already going to resolve magically without includes under the other bucket, right? If any of these fail, we get out. We just return base. Otherwise, we get the bucket item URL, and then this guy actually calls the custom pipeline. So we're creating a custom pipeline args. You guys have that custom pipelines. Yes. All right. We're gonna look at this anyways. Create the args parameters object for it. We're passing it to this guy to run the custom pipelines with that, and then magically we should have a URL for the bucket item on the args parameters instance object. By the way, this is basically saying, oh, is this guy a bucket holder? This is an extension method that comes with Sitecore.buckets. Anyways, let's look at the custom pipeline logic real quickly. There's a lot of code to show. So we want to make sure, so we go back to this is the order of stuff that's going to run. Sure. Parameters, check things out, blah, blah, blah. So everybody, all processors will have a process method. I created a base for this. And why did I do that? Because I want to make sure everybody uses this type as their hours so that we can guarantee that stuff is set that we need. So that goes down to this guy. So I'm just making sure that, required properties are set. If they're no, just exit the pipeline here. Otherwise, we can move forward. Made everything virtual because we want to get the ability to override things. When it makes sense. You don't want to be mean and say, oh, you can never override this stuff. Seriously, everything should be virtual. Right? That doesn't mean I like Java. Anyways, all right, so we go to the next guy. So, inspect bucket item. We're just making sure that the item is inside of an item bucket. There's actually an extension method that does that on, from bucket manager, which comes from Sitecore.buckets.dll. And then we're just making sure that the parent is a bucket folder. Again, we just you gotta always check things out because people mess up, people override things they shouldn't. You want to guard your code at all times. Anyways. That's my Smokey the Bear. Okay. So if these aren't true, we get out of the pipeline. Otherwise, we just keep going forward. And then we want to set the item bucket here. So that's exactly number. So we're going to grab the actual item bucket for this item. It's going to actually use an accessory method that comes with buckets like DLL, which is this guy right here. Get the bucket of my item or parent. So if it has an item bucket, it'll give you its parent, which will be whatever. And then we can do another check saying Hayes and then an item bucket. That's returned. And if none of this is true, we import the pipeline. Otherwise, we set that here. Because in the next processor, which I believe was this guy right here, we'll grab the URL of it. So how is this working? We get the added URL here. Now, so what is this crazy stuff here? We're getting that from the cards object. So if we go back to the link provider, which I can show you, we're setting that. We're actually pointing to that here. We want this to magically call this guy in case we need to. So it's kind of like a function pointer in C, if you guys like C, which I don't. Go back to work. This guy. You basically call the base. We'll call the base because in a minute you're going to just click on it. If it's empty, we just turn empty. Otherwise, we keep going. So this guy is going to get the extension URL. So we're going to grab the URL without the extension and without the page mark. Then we get the page mark, which would be something with an extension, without an extension, whatever. If that's no, we get out. Otherwise, we join them together. So we're getting the URL of the item bucket and then the name of the bucketed item and bridging them together with the forward slash. That's all this is doing, nothing magical. And then we set that on this guy. And then that gets sent back to this guy, and he has it here, returns it, and then he'll return it to the caller if it's not. That's it. So that's just for, I guess resolving links that are rich text fields or link fields or whatever. And then over on the resolution part, this is where we have to use the find bucketed item provider that I showed you before. So if we go to pipelines, this guy right here. So this is a custom item resolver. It's an ECP request processor. I'm actually injecting this thing, I think, before the item resolver. Yes, right here. So we want to insert this site before, we want to process, otherwise the out-of-the-box item resolver will work. And then I'm passing in a list of sites. So this is where I want it to work. I don't want it to work on other sites like Shell or the publishing site, all that comes out of the launch site where because it probably breaks stuff. So that's not break stuff in the right code. That's unless you want to listen to malicious guys. I'm not going to jump. All right, we go back to the custom item resolver. All right, so I'm overriding process method, which is an abstract method for this guy. The cycle configuration property will inject the websites we set in config into this property here. This is that instance of that find the item by name underneath the folder using content term. We're injecting an instance of that using configuration factory, which is magical. We're doing it like this. I don't know if you guys are aware of the ref attribute that will magically say, okay, go up here, find this guy. Okay, we have him. Create an instance of him. Oh, he's a singleton. Let's put him in that hash table. And then it'll just keep calling him over and over again. They'll just go up here and find him. All right. I wanted to blog on the ref keyboard before that. It's on my list. Anyways. I'm going to start some profiling stuff. I stole this from the out-of-the-box site resolver. It logs all this stuff inside the log file. In case you have to troubleshoot, why is this thing so slow? So it'll tell you stuff like that. templates. Anyways, so we're decoding the name. This is coming from main util. I stole this code from the out-of-the-box process item result. Basically, this will convert something that's URL encoded back into like strings that we care about, so we can find the item. If there's something there, we get out again, our stacks log. We keep going forward. Hey, do we have, / at the end? If we don't, not at the end, but we need to find something. If there's no / well, the URL is broken. But anyways, I put this in place just because I like to dot my I's and cross my T's. So kept going. I'm getting the last piece here, which is the parent. So that actually, this is getting the beginning all the way up into the last / which is going to be the URL pieces before the name of the actual page. So if you think about the item bucket, the bucketed item's name, it's going to cut off where the / and grab the beginning part of the URL. If we have nothing, by grabbing this item, based off of that path, then we get out. We also have to make sure that the item that's there is a bucket. If it's not, then we actually grab the bucketed item's name, and then we find that particular item by name underneath the bucket that we found here. And that's the class that we saw. If we found nothing, we get out. Otherwise, we set it as a context item, and then we stop all statistics being logged. So that's how, if I go to the home page again, just to let you know, if I click this guy, you actually gets resolved. Now, as I said, if you have more than one bucketed item with the same name, we'll go and grab it first. So we're almost at time, I think. I wanted to show one more thing, but I think I'm going to have to end it. I mean, I wrote up a lot of blogs out there, a lot of blog posts on this stuff I wanted to show tonight, but to be honest, there was so much code that we would be here. There's even, and like I said, this code that doesn't work anymore. I wanted to show that anyways, and that doesn't work. So there's a lot of stuff out there that you can learn from this. So, the documentation type of Sitecore has a whole page devoted to multiple features, devoted to item buckets. So they're going to talk about, hey, this is how you create an item bucket using, the bucket thing that I showed you, how to make an item bucketable by checking the checkbox. It's going to explain all that stuff. There's a PDF on it, which I think is an old cookbook, from way back in the day on SDN. There's a link to it. Everything's still relevant to it. Definitely have a look. Learn a lot. I wrote a lot of posts on item buckets and how to customize things. Definitely read all that stuff. Keep in mind some of it might be experimental. Be wary before using it in production because I haven't tested it. That's a disclaimer so you don't sue me. And then there's some other, blog posts out there, stuff talking about the rules engine and how to set that for critical folder structures. And then there's another post which I forget what it's called. It's there, have a read, it's pretty good. And then also there was a Google Hangout done by Jim Ward, the Cincinnati Sitecore, and some other guys that built this on how this works. It's on YouTube, have a look at that video, definitely. I learned a lot from it way back when he did it. I forgot all of it. Anyways, any questions?
Sorry. Go ahead.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Profile that you showed.
Yeah.
Is there something you wrote or?
That's out of the box Sitecore stuff. So if I go back, I wrapped it in a method. So I wrapped it in two methods. Thanks. I should close this up. So if we go here, page profile, this comes out of the box. It's in namespace, it's in diagrams. So yeah, basically we start this. So put in your logfile saying, hey, we're starting doing this, and then you get a timestamp. And then the enter operation will do the ending, log saying, hey, we're done with this, here's when we stop.
This logs in the cycle log?
Yeah, it's done into there. Okay. It's helpful, if you need to troubleshoot why this thing's so slow. Because this item resolve is really important. You have to be fast. Yeah. Every request for every single page in Sitecore, even inside of Sitecore client uses this thing. You have to be careful. People might not be able to load items in the content editor or in the be able to like go to a page of the site. This thing has to be super fast. So that's why it's there.
You want to add that in the code, but is there a way to actually turn it off?
I think it's using logged-on info, if I remember right. So I think you can shut that off by configuration setting.
Okay.
I actually don't. Oh, you're right.
So Mike, I don't have a caution, but I just want to confirm my own opinion with you on item buckets. So my opinion is like you don't want to store your meat of your website in item bucket. When I say meat, it means your products or your top content, which would be eventually going to be queried a lot of times by the end user on your websites or being displayed on the thing. The reason why I say that, because we have seen it in our own implementation. So like we have, let's say, 12 or 20 Sitecore different websites running in one instance, and each instance may have number of like 30 to 40 versioned websites out there. And if you have like even 200 to 300 products out being stored in the buckets, and the same way which you have shown us, the same way we have implemented us to, in order you have to resolve those items when you store items in bucket in order to achieve SEO. And then the performance part come into the picture of it. And what we learned from this implementation is like item buckets are good for the piece where you are storing huge amount of items, which are like inventories, orders and such things, but like products and articles which are very huge, hit by the users, performance may suck in case of, because you have to each time resolve that item, which could be done by default by the Sitecore default processes, because you're putting an extra layer of your code to do that job. So that's my opinion, and I want to cross check with you.
When you're doing, while we're setting the context item here, and the item resolver should have run is looking to see if the context item is set. They have this probably extra stuff in here. I don't know if you can leverage caching to make this help. I don't know. I mean, I didn't.
We did try that. We did. So, for example, we did work with a dedicated Sitecore team.
Yeah.
And they do support us for almost like 6 to 8 months while scaling out on our instance and our platform.
Right.
And in the end, like when we are, so now right now we are like running on 7.2 update 6 of Sitecore, which Sitecore is intent to support it for future even updates.
Right.
And they come up with a guidance saying that fine, you did it, implementation, it's nothing wrong with it, but kind of end up with an argument saying that okay, buckets are good, but not for your meat of your Sitecore things, and they agreed eventually. So somehow I agree at that point of that time because of our learning. Is it same what you see in other implementations which are high volume implementations and you store products kind of stuff in buckets? I understand this is one of the best case to store inventories or your products.
I would say that Active Commerce uses something like this. I didn't take this from Active Commerce, but it has products inside of buckets.
Yeah, we have a lot of B2B projects where everything, all the product information stores in Active Commerce. Active Commerce also has all the product repository in Active Commerce.
Yes. So there could be something else going on in your solution.
Yeah.
I mean, if you move this here, I mean, I'll help you with it. I mean, who knows what's going on, but I don't know. Maybe there's like 1 billion items in there. I don't know. I just don't know.
How many items are we talking about?
So, as I said, like within the one Sitecore instance, you have like 20 or 30 site nodes running out there, and each site itself have versioned items of like 30 and 40, and you know that how link provider works.
Different versions or the base?
Yes,
Wow.
yes.
Maybe it's something with overhead with that. Who knows?
Yeah.
Definitely curious. Any other questions? No. All right, that's it. Thank you.